Welcome, everyone, to the Next Best Picture podcast, where we are talking with Nick Lieberman, the co-director and co-writer of the new film Theater Camp. Nick, thank you so much for talking with us today.
My pleasure, of course.
So, Theater Camp began life as a short film, and I'm wondering what inspired you and your creative partners in crime to turn it into a full feature.
Yeah, I think that when we made the short, there was so many things that we kind of discovered, like sources of comedy that we felt were only able to be mined so much in the short time that we made the short film. And I think also some of the techniques that we were using on that smaller canvas of being super reliant on improv, but like working with actors who can really carry that and giving a sense of structure, but really creating an environment where any mistake or anything that comes up can be incorporated and tethered back to the scene rather than blowing it, I guess, or feeling like that was a bad take. I think that spirit just was so exciting, combined with landing upon a world that we all knew so well, and so, yeah, we were very determined right away, pretty much, even though it took a long time, that like this short should be kind of a launch pad or proof of concept for a larger project.
And when you got on set and you started filming, and you have all these insanely talented people of all ages on set, and it's so improv based, when you got back from that and into the editing room, what was that process like? How much footage was there?
It was an insane amount of footage. And that was one of the things, is it's like we were very free, we were very liberated, and that was really great. And we had so much trust from our producers to get what we needed. But the real trust in some way was in Molly and I editing the film and finding a way through all that stuff that would make for a coherent movie. And I think Molly and I both really love, I come out of somewhat documentary editing, and I've spent a lot of time editing documentary. And so that concept of building an archive of footage and then using your, story to navigate through all of that mountain of footage, I think is a process that we both really love, and is also like a super, it's like super iterative, and it's also super harsh. Like, you just have to be like, this is one of the funniest things we shot, and it's not going to be in the movie, like, moving on, But it's just, you end up having so many things that are like, this was funny as a piece of footage, but like, now that it's in the movie, it just does not work. And that wasn't true of like one scene or something. That was true of like, yeah, a 50% of our original 3-hour cut, So,
release the Lieberman cut, please.
Literally, nobody needs to see it. But there are definitely scenes that like we are like probably release as extended scenes or whatever that we do love, but it's like the film ground to a halt for us to be like, please laugh at how great the thing that Jimmy or Ben did. It's just like that sense of momentum you have in a movie is just, especially a comedy, it's just so painful when you lose it, and I think there were definitely rough cuts that we watched where we're like, okay, like we lost it. Like that was a hog there in the middle. But I think, yeah, hopefully, I don't know, Molly and I are just super intense and disciplined about that. And I don't know. I think we both have the feeling that is common of like the film was not finished. It was abandoned, because we ran out of time. And like that, there are endless permutations. I mean, we just watched down the DCP that's going into theaters, and we were like, okay, what about like pitching idea, like it cuts to each other. It's like, we're never going to do those. So why are we doing this?
The work is never finished. Never. Incidentally, that was my first thought after finishing the movie, was when will we see the outtakes? I want to see everything that was happening on this camp.
There's definitely good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was your favorite thing that you ended up having to cut?
Oh man. Two quick things, I guess. One is that Ben did this exercise that was like he would like tell, like kids would run to an imaginary window and he'd tell them like what they were seeing on the other side. And some of the kids, like also like some of the extras who we put in that position and just like ask them to emote and visually represent what Ben was saying, like just blew us away. It's like some of the most compelling like lean in footage that we got. It's just, that was a perfect example. And then there was one run Jimmy did with Noah where they talked about these like meal replacement bars that Troy made, and he kept just talking about like how every note he had when he'd get the bars was just more calcium, like just bump up the calcium. Noah gonna say, it's like, this is pretty chalky, like this. And that whole run of like more calcium, I was like, this is gold. Like this could have been the iconic scene from this movie, and yet it's just, there was just no way to get it in. So it's just how it goes.
It's how it goes. Um, and there's so much improvisation happening and so much, obviously you had a script, but the script for the movie is not what I'm curious about. I'm more curious about if there is a full script and score of Joan Still that exists somewhere.
Yes. So there's definitely not a full book of Joan Still,
Uh-huh.
not a libretto, but the songs that are in the movie are full production numbers with like full beginning, middle, and end and extra verses, and all of that stuff will be on the soundtrack. We recorded it all. So you'll be able to, hear the original, the artist's intent behind such numbers as Wall Street Noise and No, the Studio 54 song. Yeah. So.
Fantastic. Oh my God. I can't wait. Uh, um, you were a theater camp kid yourself
I did go to
when
theater
you're
camp.
growing up?
Yeah.
As was I, when I was younger. So, we all go and we all have these memories from there. So I just wanted to run by a few of them with you. Well,
Yeah.
who was your most memorable instructor?
You know, it's very hard to say. I remember like when we were in high school, we did this like summer intensive acting workshop,
Hmm.
and some of the teachers that they brought in, like the Commedia dell'arte teacher, and like these, they were so committed to like their discipline, and that was what
Hmm.
was like, so as if like we did this
Yeah.
2-point Suzuki class, and it was like, we have to like hold these like rods while we like
Yeah.
slowly forward into a plie and recite it. I can still recite the text that we had to do. And that kind of thing of like the way we're walking around the space and finding like gateways between other bodies, like is somehow directly going to translate into us like being like great performers at
Yeah.
14. Like I had no idea like what that even meant. Now I think I would actually get something out of it. But
Mm.
back then I definitely was like, what are we doing? Like simply, what are we doing? So that's what came to mind.
And if you were at Adirondacks as
Yeah.
a kid now, whose class would you have the most fun taking?
Um, I think that I think that Molly's class, Rebecca Diane's class, I think that the whole idea of getting like read, your past life getting read by her, I definitely would have loved to. I would still be dining out if, based on what she had said, if she had told me, you know what I mean? Like you would never forget that if somebody said that was your past life. Yeah.
Absolutely. And lastly, before we have to go, describe your most memorable theater camp production, be it so great you can't believe or so embarrassing you can't believe.
I did a summer day camp where we had to write our own original musical in addition to then put it on, and I
Mhm.
think that it was like about a couple meeting at a car accident. Like it was like almost like had a Cronenberg-y kind of
My gosh.
I mean, I didn't know that at the time. I was 10, but I remember the line like, "We'll take you on a gurney to the hospital on a long and winding journey," and that couplet really sticking with me after all these years is definitely pretty memorable.
I can imagine. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. Tell everyone what is next for you after Theater Camp comes out.
Well, I think that got to take a nice long rest since we've been working on this film up till this very moment, practically. At least, like, yeah, there's always something, and I think, all the power to the writers right now, and their like struggle to for us all to get paid fairly for our work, and I'm excited for that to get resolved in a truly like just way, and then we'll all proceed from there.
Amen. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.